Hi guys, it's Ian here, aka Ahura Mantra, and this is a really impromptu vlog. I was in the middle of doing some cleaning around my house. I stopped to have a cup of coffee and had a quick dip into my Facebook, and I saw a kind of a post that said that people who stay friends with their exes after a breakup demonstrate strong sociopathic tendencies. So as I have recently broken up with a partner about 3 months ago, and as we are trying to maintain a friendship, of course, it was of interest. So I thought, let's have a little look at this and see what it says. So after reading it, I thought, well, as I'm actually going through that experience myself, yeah, perhaps I should share it, maybe of interest to people who are going through the same sort of experience or who are wondering whether they should try and maintain a friendship with their ex. So as I say, this is completely off the top of my head. I haven't made any notes or anything, which I probably should have to give a bit more structure to my ramblings. But yeah, when a relationship ends, even if it's the right thing to do for one or both parties, it's difficult, isn't it? You've got used to being around a person, with a person. You probably love a person very much, even if you know that it isn't right that you are together as a couple. So you decide to end the relationship, one of you or both of you, and then you have to move forward with your life. Now, sometimes, I know in the past when that's happened to me before, the end of a relationship has meant the end of contact. I haven't wanted to be in touch in any way, not by phone, not by social media, nothing. There's been a complete break. They've gone their way, I've gone my way. And sometimes that's the right thing to do, and there's good reason for that, especially if you think you've been treated poorly by your ex-partner. But this time, both of us wanted to preserve something of what we had shared over the 6 years previously. And we decided that we wanted to be friends. So, and we're working at that because there's a huge number of factors, I think, which will determine whether or not that's going to be right for you and whether you're going to be successful in making and sustaining a friendship. And I think the first and most important thing is you have to be really brutally honest with yourself. Why is it that you want to stay friends? Is it because you hope that you might get back together? Now, if that's your motivator, it's not going to be right for you, because yes, you might get back together and the thing that you hope for might come about, but it might not, in which case you're fixed in that place of hoping for as long as your friendship remains. Your ex-partner may have moved on in that time, once, more than once, several times, but you're stuck living in the hope that you might have what you once had. So you need to be honest with yourself. And if you're staying friends in the hope of a reunion, then my advice would be don't do it, because it will keep you under the knife of pain and of grieving for that which you don't have anymore. But if that's not your motivation, if you realize that your relationship ended for the right reasons, and they say, don't they, your ex is your ex for a good reason. Okay, so if you can accept that the relationship is ended, is over in the form that you knew it, and if you can see things in that relationship that you could continue to enjoy in a friendship, then yeah, I think that might be a good reason to go forward. But of course, your ex-partner has to be in the same place. They have to be seeing the same things. They are, they can't be in a place of hoping for a reunion with you. They have to be of a like mind to you at this stage. Okay, so let's assume that both of you want to be friends, and you're going to have a go at that. Some other things then that I found in my experience of significance. Firstly, were you friends before you were a couple? Now, if you were, then you've got some prehistory of what a friendship looks like. There were things that you did as friends. There were places that you went as friends. There was a way of being with each other that was friendship. Okay, so you've got something that you can slip back into, a pattern of being that is not completely new to you, that you can aim to move back to. If you weren't friends before you were a couple, if you were only ever a couple, then you have to experience whether you can be friends, because wanting to be friends isn't enough. Friendship is based on something, and the qualities of friendship that you had in your relationship may not be able to stand alone in a friendship outside of that relationship. They may, but this is what you're going to be finding out as you try to build a friendship in place of a romantic relationship that you once had. So yeah, there's that. And then the other thing is your expectations, okay? Because you might be quite happy that your relationship has ended. You might be quite content in the knowledge that, you know, it was the right thing for both of you. And remember this, okay? That if the ending of a relationship is right for one person, it's right for both people. Even if one party desperately wishes it hadn't happened, the fact that the other person feels that you are not right for them, that you can't give them what they need, means that that relationship isn't right for either of you. In those circumstances, you don't have what you thought you had. In your mind, you will be remembering all the best bits, all the golden bits. And as we always do, we forget the things that weren't right, the things that weren't in our best interest. And sometimes we might not know that those things were there, but they were there. I think of people who, you know, I've talked to in the past, friends who have been desperately upset to find that their partner has been seeing someone else, or they've been having an affair. Maybe it's gone on for a long time. And they say, well, I thought my relationship was perfect. Okay, so they thought it was, but it wasn't. And the things that were not in their best interest were there, even though they didn't think they were. So yes, if a relationship isn't right for one of you, it isn't right for either of you. But a friendship might be. So I'm completely losing my thread here. Yes, I know where I was. So you decided to be friends, okay? But then you have to look at your expectations of what that friendship will be and what it will mean. Remember that until this point in time, you have probably been the most important person in your partner's life, or one of the most important people. You've been pretty near the top of the tree, which means that you've probably got and had the first call on their time and the first call on their attention after they've done those things that they must do, like work, maybe, you know, children, aged parents, you know what I mean, those things. When those have been done, you've been probably, you know, the most important thing next. So you have to realize as friends, you are important, because if you're of no importance to a friend, then it's no friendship, is it? If you mean nothing to them, then that is not a friendship. So although you will be important to your ex-partner as a friend, you will not be in the same place that you once were. So some of the behaviours that they displayed as a partner, they won't display as a friend. They may not be available as often. Contact might not be as frequent. Now, particularly if your ex-partner has gone into a new relationship and maybe you haven't. Maybe you don't want to, but the fact is that the time relationship will change and be different. And you have to be mindful of your expectations. Friendship is not a partnership minus the romance. Now, in my naivety, when we decided that we were going to be friends, I said, yeah, well, we'll have all the best bits and none of the, the bits that weren't right for us. Great idea, but of course that's not how it works. Because I find myself becoming impatient sometimes, when I don't get a response to my text as quickly as I once did. And I become irritated. And when then I become irritated, it triggers other things that used to irritate me. And then before I know where I am, I'm thinking, getting angry with a person, getting angry with your ex, really for no reason at all. So when that happens, I have to say, hang on a minute now, this is silly. Would you expect that of any other of your friends? And if the answer is no, don't expect it of your ex-partner friend. Yeah, and be mindful of the fact that it may not be straightforward straight away, because when a relationship ends, it's usually for reasons. And so minor irritations can quickly trigger you back into those things about that person that you didn't like. And it doesn't matter how much you might have loved your partner, there will be things that you didn't like that irritated the hell out of you. And there will be things, that can cause major emotional responses in you that probably would not be in an ordinary friendship. So be mindful of that fact too, that now you have a friend, okay, that knows you pretty much from the inside out, who you know from the inside out, and who will at times have driven you to the point of despair and distraction. So yeah, it's going to be a friendship with an interesting dynamic. But, I'm saying all this now and because I have thought all of those things through. And yes, for me, right now, there is value in maintaining my friendship with my ex. It is something that I would want to do. And that's not about just managing to maintain some kind of contact and avoiding the loss of, the complete loss of a person. Maybe there's always something in that about when we want to stay friends with our exes. Of course it is. We don't, when we've loved someone, when we've shared our lives with them, and, when they've had the place in our lives that they've had, unless they've been absolutely evil to us most of the time, we would not perhaps want to lose them in our lives completely. And that's a good reason for maintaining a friendship. And so that is the challenge for both of us, to bring into being something that wasn't there before, because we had no history of being friends prior to being partners. So it's going to be an interesting journey. So far it's going well, and we'll see how it pans out. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to take my my cup of tea and I'm going to have a nice drink. Okay, so catch you again soon. Bye.